Well, the air has turned thick with accusations and perhaps is about to turn thicker with highly priced $1 million-a-time ordnance over the skies of Syria and landing on the land that has been torn apart by civil war and foreign intervention for 7 long years. I said the other night, maybe last night, that the particular special relationship between Britain and Russia, the particular toxic nature of that relationship, may very well see, if the fighting starts, as it now seems imminent that it will, that Britain would be singled out by the Russians for particular attention when it comes to retaliation. That was a guess of mine last night on the basis of many decades in politics and a close knowledge of British-Russian relations for 100 years. But it's turned crystal clear today with the direct accusation, though that was concealed for several hours in the British media, which claimed that Russia had blamed an unnamed country when everyone and their cat and guinea pig knew that the named country was Britain. Russia has accused us of staging a fake chemical weapons attack in Duma, and moreover, Russia claims it has incontrovertible proof of that. Now that would be shocking to me, but not surprising to me, because I know about Britain's relations with Russia. I know that Britain invaded Russia less than 100 years ago to bring about regime change in Moscow after the overthrow of the monarchy by the Bolshevik Revolution. Britain dispatched an expeditionary force of scores of thousands of soldiers and invaded Russia through Archangel and sought to be a decisive factor in the civil war then raging between the Red Russians and the Whites. Britain was defeated in that war. The Whites were defeated. The Bolsheviks won, and the British never forgave them. Britain began a long habit then of giving sanctuary to Russian émigrés whose career thereafter was to collude with British governments throughout the long decades to help bring about a regime change in Moscow. And we are now, unfortunately, the place where another generation of quite different émigrés have gathered in profusion with their stolen billions and their criminal habits. Britain is infested by Russian oligarchs, many of them thieves, some of them murderers. We don't know what the Skripal affair is really all about. But if we are implicated in a fake news chemical weapons attack in Duma, then the suspicion will turn internationally, ineluctably, to a belief that the Salisbury poisoning is intimately connected with that. People will ask also just exactly what the British Special Forces operating undercover in Syria right now have been doing. We only know that they're there because one of them was unfortunately killed less than 2 weeks ago. A sergeant in the SAS killed in action in Syria. The British government will not comment on what he was doing there under the cover of the consistent refusal to comment on the operations of special forces. So the British Parliament, whose forces they are, who pay for them, and the British public, to whom they owe some clear duty of accountability, will never be told what the British special forces in Syria are up to. But if the Russians are telling the truth, and we need to see evidence of that, just like we need to see evidence when British government claims are made, if the Russians are more open than our own government is, and we do see incontrovertible proof, Britain is in big, big, big trouble. The British government may fall. The British state will rock to its foundations. So I await that incontrovertible truth and evidence with bated breath. But in the meantime, as the Cyprus aviation authorities have cleared the airspace around Akrotiri, the British Royal Air Force base there, which, by the way, didn't lift a finger to defend Cyprus when Turkey invaded and occupied half of it, then the balloon is about to go up. And if you think about it, it has to now go up. Because if it doesn't, Theresa May will have to face the British Parliament on Monday. She will have to face a motion that would undoubtedly be tabled by the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, for a debate on the war. The Speaker, I believe, would have no choice but to take that motion and allow it to be debated, and a vote would have to be taken at the end. Now, given that British public opinion, as the YouGov poll demonstrates, shows that this would be the most unpopular war ever embarked upon by any British government, 22% only of the British people are supporting it. Before a shot is fired, before anything can go wrong, and bear in mind Dennis Healy's stricture that in war, Murphy's Law applies. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. Then the government of Theresa May will have to hold tight to the tassels of the orange sashes of the Democratic Unionist Party, because her majority might disappear underneath her feet. So, if it isn't now, it kind of can't be until the British Parliament gives its considered view on whether Britain should enter this war or not. And if the British Parliament votes to enter a war that more than 3/4 of our people are against before it even starts, then every MP, especially every Labour MP, who votes for it will be taking a terrifying political risk. Now, if the shooting does start tonight, let me tell you how it's going to go. Donald Trump, Theresa May, President Macron, and a grisly gang of kings from the Persian Gulf will rain down hundreds and hundreds of $1 million a time Tomahawk cruise missiles on Syria. They'll kill a lot of Syrians. They may even seek to kill the Syrian president. But given that Russia has ships and planes and men and women, military personnel in every area that might be bombed, and given that Russia has pledged in blood and in treaty to seek to bring down any missile headed for Syria and to attack the platforms from which those missiles were launched, and given that the Chinese Navy is now sailing alongside Russian warships on the coast of Syria, the coast is clear for a devastating clash between China, Russia, Iran, Syria, Hezbollah, and Britain, the United States, France, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Now, as the crow flies, it's not much more than 100 miles from Damascus to the actual town called Armageddon. It appears that we have a political leadership that's in quite a hurry to get to Armageddon.